Welcome everyone to the 5th East Apartments ceremonial groundbreaking. We're so excited to have all of you. I'm Sean McMillan and I am the Executive Director of First Step House. So as I was reflecting on my remarks today, I kept coming back to how thoughtful and deliberate this community has been. And I mean all of you, every single one of you and others who've been a part of nurturing and cultivating this organization to get us to the place that this mid-sized, community-based nonprofit organization is in a place that we're going to, with your support, bring a 75-unit permanent supportive housing project up out of the ground. The thing that some of you may not know about this project is that the people that we will be serving in the 5th East Apartments are individuals who struggle with serious and persistent mental illness. They are folks who often slip through the cracks. And because of this, we're going to be able to provide a warm, safe place for those folks to live that will match the level of services to the level of need. We're so thrilled to be able to do that. I want all of you to also know that we recognize that this project is possible because of your goodwill, because of this community's goodwill. And I also want this community to know that we commit to being a good steward of that goodwill. With that, I'll get on with the list of thank yous. And I'm sorry, but it's long. Salt Lake County Government, Salt Lake County Division of Behavioral Health, Tim Whalen, Optum Salt Lake, Tracy Loma, for approaching and trusting First Step House to help address a critical community-wide issue affecting individuals struggling with serious and persistent mental health conditions. We are deeply moved that you would call on us to serve this vulnerable population. Utah Housing Corporation, Mr. Grant Whitaker and Claudia O'Grady, we appreciate your support for our project and for seeing and understanding the need for the permanent supportive housing set aside in our communities. Thank you, National Equity Fund, Susan Asam, and Morgan Stanley, Steve Ackerlow, for seeing and understanding the need for this project in our community. Thank you for believing in us and helping us to get this project done. Zions Bank Utah, Wendy Leonelli and Elias Dottie, you are truly our neighborhood banker. Salt Lake City Mayor Biskupski, thank you for standing up with enthusiasm to cultivate, nurture, and encourage a community for everyone. David Litvak and Jen Seelig, Simone Butler and Coletta Lynch for taking my sometimes panicked emails and calls. Salt Lake City Hand Team, Melissa Jensen and Bailey White, you are our heroes, and you know why. Daniel Herbert Voss, Lori Pohl, Shelley Glines, and the Olin Walker Housing Loan Fund team. Rocky Mountain CRC, Nick Berger, John Montgomery, others. Your work in our community is essential to projects like this. Thank you for your resources and your expertise. Blue Line Development, Nate Richmond, Nate Shepard, and especially Christian Pritchett. Without you, this wouldn't have been possible. Winthrop and Weinstein, John Peterson and Rob Singleton, your legal expertise has been invaluable. The Cure Construction Team, we had some bumps. This is a competitive labor market. It's tough to get stuff built in this community, but you hung with us and you worked through problems. And again, I am forever grateful. Ed Lamb and Susan Eterno, Kraus and Lamb, for your legal work. Janice Kimball and the Housing Authority of Salt Lake County team, as well as their board members. Dan Ackerman and the Housing Authority of Salt Lake City team and their board members. Sherry Whitaker, Jeannie Eden, Seth Teague, Zach Bale for all of your work on the operating plan, and especially Austin Davis on the First Step House team for attending to details. Without you, I don't know. I just don't know. And then, of course, all of the First Step House team, Heidi and Matt and all of the others who carried the load while we focused on this project. Thank you so much for making it possible. Mayor Biskupski.
All right. Well, today has been an awesome day. This is my second groundbreaking for affordable housing, and it's so extraordinary how we came together to really do something remarkable. And Melissa Jensen and her team really helping me lead a Blue Ribbon Commission, and the idea that if we bring everyone together, the bankers, the builders, the state, the county, the city, that what people thought was impossible was truly possible. And today is such a landmark day in dreams coming true for people who desperately need affordable housing. And the two populations that we are serving, our seniors earlier today with an affordable housing project, and today here with people who suffer from mental illness. And I come from a family that has mental illness in it, and I see what happens. So I personally am grateful to everyone who has stepped up to make this a reality. So thank you. It is also part of our process in shifting away from the shelter model of service to the homeless resource centers and having that next step, which is a permanent supportive housing unit. And so as we move through this process, we have to make sure we are doing the due diligence of creating the successful path for people. So today is an incredibly special day in Salt Lake City, and one that means so much to me personally. The project we are beginning today will be the first significant development of permanent supportive housing built in Salt Lake City since Palmer Court. And many of you know that that was at least a decade ago. We know that housing is one of the key drivers of success. Success in economic opportunity, success in education, and success in helping lift people out of homelessness. This development is another example of how Salt Lake City and our partners are committed to changing the way we serve those experiencing homelessness in our community. A change which means those in need of compassion can find the help they need where they are. A change which breaks down barriers and brings people together to find solutions. Here at the First Step Recovery Campus, we already see this model at work. Veterans, those we owe the highest debt of gratitude to, can access substance use treatment and find community right where they live. The new resource centers, one of which will be built just down the street, will operate on the same service model. And now, because of the investments we are willing to make, the First Step Recovery Campus will soon open its doors to 75 individuals who are looking for a path forward. This project is a reality because as a community, we are moving and we are willing to move in a better way, to incorporate and find the opportunity lying beyond a problem. In 2017, I convened a Blue Ribbon Commission of lenders, housing experts, developers, and others. Our goal was to work together to find solutions which would create the kind of opportunity we are seeing here today. Through that process, we identified 3 permanent supportive projects that we will build and help people transition from the new resource centers. I am forever grateful to all those who participated in this process, who found a path to yes, including the Utah Housing Corporation, which granted tax credits for the 3 Blue Ribbon development projects. For our part, the city invested nearly $1 million to get this project built, money which will repay itself many times over through the lives that will be changed. When I think about this work, I can't help but remember a man named James, whom I met in 2016 at a housing development grand opening. James was moving into that affordable unit that day after time spent getting on his feet at a permanent supportive housing unit, just like what you will see here. As James said that day, he had everything and then he had nothing. He was so grateful to the people of Utah who said he mattered and that they had big hearts and they gave him hope. When he thought about his new housing, what he said was, "It means I'm again a part of this community." There is a first step to every journey, a first step toward hope and in building a city for everyone. But what we have learned over the last 3 years as we have changed our thinking on homelessness and housing is that those first steps are easier when we take them together. Thank you, everyone, for making this project a reality. I can't wait to come back next spring and do a ribbon cutting with you.
Hello, everyone. My name's Tim Whalen. I'm the Director of Salt Lake County Behavioral Health Services, and it's just really a big honor for me to be here today. I've worked with Sean for at least 15 years. First Step House is one of our most valued providers in the county. Thank you.
Speak up, Tim.
Thank you. I'm just afraid of catching her cold.
Right.
Just kidding. I was talking to Mayor Biskupski right before we started about how generous of a host Salt Lake City has been to many of our behavioral health programs. And I would really like to acknowledge that in front of everyone. They have gone out of their way of opening the doors to the community as she just described. It is a huge, huge benefit to our folks. And I really want to acknowledge her and the council and her staff for supporting these programs these many, many years. Housing is health care. Today, if there is an individual with a serious and persistent mental illness in the state hospital, the biggest barrier for us to get them out into the community is safe, affordable housing. I've never been more excited in my career than I am now to see this hole being dug in the ground next to us, because it offers us the ability to place 75 of our most vulnerable citizens in safe, affordable housing with access to treatment, to have dignity in their lives, and to be safe. I'm not going to name all the agencies that Sean did, because those are the agencies that I would have thanked as well. And I know you're all standing here and we have another speaker. I do want to call out one person specifically that was very helpful in this project, and that's Sherry Whitwer. I think you all know Sherry. She was a former director of NAMI, but if you could give her a hand, I would really appreciate it. And then I would be remiss if I don't thank the county mayor, Mayor McAdams, who's now our congressman, Mayor Wilson, our deputy mayor is here, Aaron Litvak, our county council. You live in a county in Utah, in Salt Lake County, that very much prioritizes these services, both with Medicaid resource and non-Medicaid resource. And it's been an honor to spend my career here being and working with providers like Sean and others. So thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm Grant Whitaker with the Utah Housing Corporation. First, I too want to recognize Mayor Jackie Biskupski for being a leader in affordable housing like no other leader is in this state and few in the country. I am so impressed with her understanding of the need for affordable housing. It's not a bad thing. We're just trying to put people in there who need it because they're early in life, they don't make a lot of money, or they've had hiccups in their life, whatever. But there's a lot of people, and they're good people. And I just thank you very much for all that you've done in Salt Lake City, and I hope that it spreads. Not like you're cold, but everything else. So
Maybe like a cold. That would be actually
that would be good.
extraordinary.
So 2 years ago, when Pioneer Park was spiraling out of control, our staff got together and said, you know, maybe we can do something. It's been about a decade since we have done anything in terms of the housing plus, housing first. And so we figured what we could do is do a set aside of the small amount of low-income housing tax credits that we get, put that aside for permanent supportive housing. And we said, if it doesn't get used, if there's no demand for it, that's okay. It just rolls into the general pool. It can be used for any type of affordable housing. It's eligible for the tax credits. Well, that first year we had 5 applications that came in. I think it's about 400 units that will get done from all of that, from these 3 projects, and another one we did a little bit earlier from a special set aside. And that's going to be extremely helpful for this population of people. So this 75 unit project is the first one to come out of the ground. And so this is an exciting moment for me personally, because I've been waiting, where are they? When are they going to get done? When are they going to get started? And so to see this today is really exciting to do, or to see. The project is going to cost about $15 million, $20 million. Costs are going up, huh? Surprise. Anyway, but Utah Housing was able to allocate about $1 million of federal tax credits and nearly $2 million of state tax credits. And under the magic of the federal tax laws, that gets turned into about $13 million of equity. So for those of you who don't understand tax credits, this part's fairly simple. Tax credits means down payment. So Sean's got to go out and get a mortgage loan to finance this, and I guess he's got a couple from Olin Walker and from Rocky Mountain. But this makes it a small mortgage and a small monthly payment, meaning that they can have very, very low rents and affordable to people who don't make much money. And that's how the tax credit program works. So we're excited to see this one coming out of the ground. And I'm not going to explain more on the tax credits. That gets a little ugly, really. But anyway, but I do want to thank everyone who was involved in this. I think it's a great project. And congratulations to First Step House, Kier Construction, and all those who are there. So thank you very much.
So we received our permits from the city last Monday, and Kier was ready to go. They scrubbed the lot in one day and started to work. And so what you see is about 8 days, 7 days of work, you know, and I know that Kier is very enthusiastic about getting this project done as well. So we're gonna do a ceremonial shovel turning, groundbreaking right here. So would the funders come forward and please join us over here? Thank you.